Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Live with Liz. It's nice to see you today. We're talking about content development today and planning for 2021. So in normal years, I would take content development planning and say, let's build out a plan that's structured around business development events, travel, speaking engagements, so that you can tie your content to your audience and to your business development efforts in an attempt to get more meetings, to have quality engagements with people. And while I still believe that that's important, in 2021, things are still uncertain with travel and things look a little bit different. When we're talking about content, we're talking about digital content primarily because, of course, that's really first and foremost what's out there right now and what's most important. We're talking about blog posts, we're talking about articles, we're talking about videos, live streams, we're talking about engagement in social media, an entire realm of digital media and information that you're putting out regarding your areas of expertise, your services, your firm, yourself, your brand. All of these are encompassed in your content, and these are what you need to plan for. When you're thinking about what a year should look like for content development, maybe you've not even thought that far and even thought about how to structure a content development plan. Buenos dias, Evangelina. If you haven't, you really should spend some time thinking about it, because this is really the crux of your communications with your potential clients, your current clients, your target audience. And the purpose behind all of this is for you to engage with those that are most likely to convert into not just clients, but quality clients. So we're talking about the content that's going to drive your organic growth. And we're talking about content that's quality over quantity. And in addition to that, the focus now should truly be on authenticity, and you should always be consistent. And you'll hear me repeat those things over and over again about quality and consistency. So I like to be pretty robust when I plan a content development schedule for the year for a firm, and look at all of the different offerings and possibilities and opportunities holistically first. It tends to be much more robust than you would imagine, with lots of different contributors and lots of different metrics that we use and analytics to decide what the optimal content development plan should look like. Now, this is not a one-size-fits-all structure for every firm and every person. So it is really important to go back to basics and think, okay, the most important things are that I'm consistent and that I have high quality. Now, what does this look like for you? That may mean at least having the basics every month. Have one article per month, one blog post per month, perhaps one video per month, and a regular scheduled engagement effort in social media. Maybe all of that together is a basic content development plan for you. But when you get into what the topics should be, who should be contributing, the authors, how it's going to be distributed, promoted, these are things that also need to be taken into consideration for that content development plan. And when you're putting it together, you can really be expansive on this and figure out what you want to be seen, what areas of expertise you want to highlight, where you want to grow, and put it together with your business development efforts. Now, 2021 being so unique is the perfect time to reinvent yourself and to figure out whether you want to make a shift in some of the content that you're providing. If you want instant credibility, content development is the way to get it. And I always say, if you want to be seen as an expert in something, write about it. But this is beyond what we normally see. So instead of what I might normally do, which is take that travel schedule, figure out which conferences you're attending, who the target audience is, which subjects you'll be covering, even to the extent of looking at the schedules and which sessions you're attending and who the speakers are, to figure out what you want to write to be relevant in that room when you get in there for the meeting. This year, it's much more vast than it was before. You can actually take a step back, assess where your happy point is, and figure out what works best for your firm and where you want to grow and who you want to target. So what do I mean by this? I mean, you need to take a look at your practice areas now, the structure of your communication, and where the market is going. Do some trend analysis along with it, and then sit down, outline first, and figure out, okay, these are the topics that we need to cover for the year. This is what's trending right now in this space where I need to be. This is what people are looking for on the internet when it comes to the services that I provide. This is where I know I have an area of expertise and can actually write about it without having to go back to college and getting another degree or going back to law school and doing another LLM. You don't have to necessarily do all of that, but this could drive you to that point perhaps. So when you sit down and you evaluate all of these different resources of information and you figure out what would be valuable, think about what's valuable to you. That value point is where you want to focus when actually developing it. So I would first brainstorm that list of potential topics to cover that marries your practice areas and expertise with where you want to go and your business development efforts. So understanding that we're not necessarily traveling, you still have virtual conferences that you're going to consider. You still have certain engagements that will probably continue. You still have the clients that you're working on, and you can think of your most successful client work and put that into your content development. You don't have to necessarily publish all the time. Some people think you have to publish every day, every week. You don't necessarily have to do that. Quality is far more important. So if you can only publish once a month, start there. Publish once a month, be consistent about it, and be true to yourself. Make sure that you're promoting it effectively through these different channels so that your content development plan is not just a pile of blog posts that you've written that no one has seen. So you need to really be more holistic about it and make sure that when you're coming up with all of the different content that you're actually taking it the next step and distributing it and getting it out to where it needs to go. So these are things that Firm Forward helps with when we come to analyzing the market, figuring out who should be writing what, where your areas of expertise are, where the opportunities are, and then how to disseminate that information so that it's hitting the target that needs to see it. These are things that you may not be thinking about when you're putting down what your content should look like. So where do you go to find these trends and topics and things like that? I really like to use the aggregators that are out there because they have visibility, they have a following. What I mean by those aggregators, we've talked about legal publications in the past. So when I'm talking about an aggregator, I'm saying this is one of the types of publications out there, or channels of distribution rather, that you can utilize to get your firm's content in front of an audience that's already kind of turnkey. You don't have to go out and find the audience yourself. A third party has done that for you. There are two that I bring up a lot, like Lexology and Mondac. This is because of my background in intellectual property, but both of those go beyond that and touch many different areas of law. They also perform search engine optimization for you. And so that distribution part can already be taken care of. There's also one in the US that I like, the National Law Review. They do a great job of putting together the top articles. They can show you which ones are most effective, how many views. All three of these aggregators that I've mentioned have the ability to give you some robust analytics to let you know who's actually reading your content, whether they're finding it valuable, so that you can go back and change things throughout the year that maybe weren't working or that you know could do a little bit better. I'm going to spend a minute talking about LinkedIn because the rate of use by law firms and consumers, especially in the B2B space of legal services, is astronomical on LinkedIn. And so a lot of people are not utilizing this, and there are a lot of eyeballs on LinkedIn that don't have this valuable content. You can still get into this area, produce your content and publish it through LinkedIn, and have an audience that you can actually craft and run campaigns so that they can see it. And really, this area of distribution for law firms is, I would say, absolutely essential at this point for any firms that are focused on corporate legal services or intellectual property, anything that's servicing the business world. If you're going more the consumer route, if you're looking at startups and small companies, maybe individual inventors, those types of audiences, LinkedIn might not be the ideal place for your content to live and thrive and reach those people. But if you're doing business, that is where you absolutely need to be. And there are a lot of different ways to promote your content there. Once you have some content, one of the things about consistency and getting your message out, we said, you don't have to necessarily post all the time. Start at once a month if you have to and grow from there. But you can take a bigger post and break it up into pieces so that you can use it in lots of different channels. So say I have a blog post or an article and I'm going to highlight it on LinkedIn and I'm going to put it into an accessible form so that people get value out of it, which is what LinkedIn is looking for when it distributes your content, the highest value. So of course, video is going to get a lot of attention, certain numbers of images, making sure your titles are the right length and making sure you're using keywords that attract the users you're looking for. But then you can take that longer post that you have on LinkedIn and find the most important messages, the takeaways, the things that make your client successful, and break them down into smaller messages that you can then distribute throughout other types of social media. So you can do a quick video, a little story about it, or reel. You can take some of, if you maybe have a bullet point list in the broader point, or you have a graphic, you can create carousels for Instagram, and you can create talking points in groups so that you have engagement that is connected to your content, that lends itself even more to promoting your credibility, your areas of expertise. So as I said before, the quickest way to become considered an expert on something is to write about it. And this is super important. If you're thinking about making a change, if you need some direction when it comes to your content planning, someone to look at your services, your markets that you're serving, your clients and your potential clients, and find where they are and what they need to see in order to see your firm in the light that will lead to the growth and success you're looking for, Firm Forward can definitely help you with this type of planning throughout the year. We even start with something quite basic, a content development scheduler plan that tells you exactly what to write about. We give you the length that you need it to be. We provide editorial services. And then if you are absolutely not capable, you can't have one more thing on your plate, but you still need that presence and want to be out there, your content development plan can include the use of third parties to create that content for you. Even the most sophisticated, seemingly intimate or personal content that really shows that you've put your heart into it can be done by a third party. It's actually amazing. Some of the writers that we work with produce some of the most incredible content that is expert level. They get to know you, they know your services, and this is something that can be achieved. So even if you have absolutely zero time to put into this, you can still have a content development plan, follow it, and then when you're swamped, use a third party to make sure that the continuity isn't broken and that you keep going with it. This year, we don't have those conferences to figure out and work around, but we do still have a lot of business development opportunities. But instead of just using that as the center of your plan this year, it's more important now than ever to focus on what services you want to provide, looking at the market trends to see what's changing for 2021, to plan that content around it, making sure that you're authentic and original so that people will trust you, because without that, you'll lose the trust. And in the legal profession, you know that you absolutely need your clients to trust you. Content is really a way to achieve that when done right and when distributed to the best audience out there, leading to that organic growth that you're looking for and the success that you need. If you have questions about content development, you can always reach out to us at solutions@firmforward.com. If you'd like to see us cover something that we haven't spoken about, we're happy to do it. Just let us know. Give us a shout out in the comments if you have something else you want to say to us. We always respond. And next week, there's a little bit of a change with Live with Liz, because we are participating in an ASIPI, that's the Latin American or Inter-American rather Association of Intellectual Property. I am moderating a panel there with Ross Fishman. He's a marketing genius. Everybody knows him. He's an icon in the legal marketing space. And I'm really excited to be moderating his panel on marketing tips in the age of COVID. So we'll provide some information about that panel coming up next week. That means that Live with Liz next week will be 1 hour earlier than it usually is. So see me at 8 a.m. Houston time. And then if you happen to miss it, you can watch the recording at 9. So we do this every week, 15 minutes, a quick tip, here and there, some of my inside tricks and trade, and well, you know, it's just me, Liz. All right. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. See you next week. Take care.